Hey guys, it's Kristen. Welcome to my channel. I would like to start by saying a couple quick things. One, the sun is setting. Actually it's already set and it's raining out today, so that is why the lighting is like this. I'm doing my best. I look very, very pale and the lighting is just not really working out. And second, you can't really tell, but it hurts for me to talk because I think I'm coming down with a cold, and so my throat hurts really bad and my nose is very stuffed, so I do this. So please don't get annoyed with that throughout this video. I'm going to do my best not to. What happens happens. And if you are new here, hello, my name is Kristen and I post new videos every Friday and some Tuesdays. Since the school year has started, I have had some issues uploading on Tuesdays. One, because I'm running out of video ideas, and two, because of my schedule. With that said, don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you want to see more from me. If you watched my last video, you will know that I already started school, and I know that a lot of schools are starting around right now. So I figured this would be a really helpful video for those of you, or those of us, who need help staying organized and just knowing where everything is throughout the school year. So without further ado, here is how I stay organized and what I recommend doing to stay organized during the school year. The first thing that I have on my list is to develop a routine, and I think that this is very, very important because a routine allows your body to get used to something and it allows your brain to kind of expect what's coming, and I think that it's just really helpful with staying organized because it allows you to know what's going on and have a better idea of what you're going to be doing. So whether this means writing something down in a planner or just getting in the habit of doing these constant things, whether it's a morning routine or a night routine, a homework routine, after school routine, school day routine, I don't know, whatever it is, try to come up with a nice routine that you feel you can stick to. If you have to break it a few times, that's all right, we all do it, but do your best to stick to that routine, and that is one of the first steps to having a nice, organized, successful school year. The next thing that I have, which would go into this routine, would be planning out the night before. Personally, I like to pick out my clothes, or at least make a mental note of what I'm going to wear the next day, or what I'm going to pack for lunch, what I'm going to have for breakfast, because it allows me to feel less stressed and in a rush in the morning, especially if you lay those clothes out, so that it's one less thing that you have to do in the morning when you're already trying to get out of bed, get to school, get all your stuff ready, and get there on time. The next thing that I have, which has to do with planning, is using a planner, and I have one. I bought mine from Target, I think. I want to say it was between $8 and $10. I use my planner to write down my homework assignments, plan out YouTube videos, which I'm not doing very good at the moment, but just it helps me keep everything organized and in one spot. I find that ones that have, excuse me, I'm sorry. I find that ones that have a calendar section with the smaller boxes and the numbers, and then bigger boxes that you can write in separately. Do you know what I mean? I think you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's just like a classic planner, I feel, where there's a section where you can just look at a calendar quickly, know what day it is, and all of that, but then there's also a section where you can write in assignments and write a schedule, a plan, stuff like that. So I definitely recommend using a planner. Some schools give them out to students and some schools don't, so I definitely recommend using one either way. Even if you have to buy one, it doesn't have to be a fancy one. I think the dollar store even has planners, or like a schedule book of some sort, so definitely use a planner. The next thing that I have is to write everything down, and this could either be in a planner as in like writing down homework, writing down assignments, stuff like that, but I think that this could also be very useful in class when the teacher's going over something that you think maybe you'll forget, or if it's just something that you think is really important. I definitely recommend writing that down, having a notebook or a binder for each class, or just one that you use for all classes if that's what you prefer, but writing everything down, not necessarily I'm not telling you to write down every single word that the teacher says, because I know that there are times where the teacher says you don't need to write this down, or you're not just gonna walk into class and be like, okay, the teacher said, good morning class, please have your seat. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all, but just write down what you feel is important and what you really want to remember. because it'll really just help you stay organized. And when you write down something, I believe it's scientifically proven that you are more likely to remember it. Definitely write it down either in your phone or on a piece of paper anyways, even if you think you could remember, just because it's better to be safe than sorry. The next thing would be to set rules for yourself, and obviously there's rules that schools have, rules that your parents or guardians have, but what I really mean by this is setting limits for yourself and being aware of when too much is too much. For me, and I feel a lot of people my age in general, or just really people in general, I think would be using phones or technology too much. And I know that iPhones have a feature where you can see your screen time and see how much time you spend on each individual app and kind of ranked highest to least. So what I've done recently is I went through and I looked at some of my most used apps and I put limits on them. Your phone will give you a reminder when you have 5 minutes left on that app, and I think that I know it's definitely been helpful for me. Yes, you can ignore the reminder, but part of setting the rule for yourself is that you cannot go over that time. And an example of another rule that you could set for yourself would be not allowing yourself to use your phone for more than 5 minutes before you finish your homework. Or if you know that you need to shower earlier in the evening so that other people in your household can get into the bathroom or something like that, then set the rule for yourself to get home and shower so that it's out of the way and it allows you to let your hair dry or just relax after that long school day and get all those school germs off of you. Another thing that kind of ties in with that would be creating your own deadline ahead of the school issued deadline, if that makes sense. What I mean by that is just say you have a research paper due a week from today or something like that. Tell yourself that you need to finish it within 5 days of that 7-day deadline so that you can have a couple days to edit and revisit and just kind of make sure that you said everything that you want to say. I think this will definitely be very helpful for myself. I like getting things done early and not saving them till last minute, and that's another thing that kind of ties in with this, just not saving things till last minute and procrastinating. I know we're all guilty of it. I myself procrastinate a lot more than I would like to. I know I definitely did with my summer homework. Just making sure that you have everything done ahead of time so that you're not stressing about it last minute. I think that is one of the most important things that you can do when it comes to homework and school and just everything that goes on in your life. The next thing that I would like to recommend is working on one thing at a time. I know that it can be difficult and you want to take brain breaks and you want to just move on to something different. All I'm saying is try to stay focused on one thing if it's a shorter assignment so that you don't get sidetracked and you don't lose your train of thought and you don't forget what you were going to write if you had a really good idea. But of course, another way to not forget your idea is to write it down, which goes into my next thing, which is writing down questions that you have throughout class. My idea with this is that if you write down the question or idea when it comes to you, you can remember to ask the teacher that question either at the end of class or if there's another appropriate time during class that day. And also writing down their answer. I think this would be a really good way to remember what you've asked so you avoid the embarrassing situation of asking the same question twice. And you can also go back and see, okay, this is what they said, this is what I'm confused about, I'll go and ask about this specific thing instead of just re-asking the question and then them giving you the same exact vague answer that you weren't able to understand the first time. The next thing that I 100% recommend is breaking down bigger tasks into smaller tasks. And I don't necessarily mean this literally, like physically the project in itself, but mentally I think is what would be most important with this. I'm going to use an example of a research paper again because that is the first bigger thing that comes to mind, because I've had to do, not necessarily a research paper, but I've had to write 3 essays. I've been in school for a week. I had to write 2 essays in my honors English class and 1 essay in my honors global class. So that is why I keep using the example of a research paper. I know there are many other assignments out there that could definitely also work with these tips that I'm giving you, if that makes sense. Sorry, my throat. Okay, breaking bigger tasks down into smaller tasks. So if you have a research paper, I recommend starting with an outline. I write mine out based off of paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4, paragraph 5. That would be a standard 5-paragraph essay. Obviously do it based off of what you need to write. But when creating your outline, I always say what I'm going to have in each section. So I include my thesis statement in my introduction paragraph outline, the basic information that I'm going to include in it, as well as my hook, because that helps me stay focused and know exactly what I'm going to do when it comes time to write that essay or paper. And then I do the same thing for the following paragraphs, which is just basically summarize what I'm going to put in it, and then I use my big fancy words and explanations in my actual essay. You can also do this mentally with a homework assignment, so you can tell yourself, if you have 30 minutes left in a class, I mean a class is a fairly big task if you ask me, so say you have 30 minutes left in the class and it's going by super slow, just think, that's only 5 minutes 6 more times, or that's only 10 minutes 3 more times, and I know that definitely helps me get by in some of my not as exciting classes. The next thing is probably the biggest thing that I have done, and that is color coding my stuff, if that makes sense. If you watched my Get Ready with me for back to school, you'll see that I kind of color coded my binders and my folders for each class. In the past, I've also done this with like pencil cases that I stick in my binders so that everything is, first of all, pretty and aesthetic, but also so that I know what goes with which class. So I think science is pretty commonly green, maybe that's just me, but so you have your green binder with your green folder and your green pencil pouch or your green pencil, I don't know, but just keep everything that color. That'll help you know, okay, my green folder is my science homework. Another thing that I think is super important is to declutter once a week. I think that decluttering once a week could just mean either tidying up your room once a week, because it'll be a lot easier to work on homework, or just relax in the time that you don't have to do homework if your room is clean and you don't have stuff everywhere. But I think that it would also be important to do this with binders, because sometimes you get a handout that your teacher doesn't say that you need to keep. Always double check before throwing papers out that your teachers give you, but if they have said that you don't need it, then there's no reason for you to keep it. If anything, take a picture of it on your phone and then maybe create a folder for like handouts from Miss Tree. I don't know, there's trees outside my window. This is the first thing I thought of, but you know what I mean? So you have everything in that one spot still, and so if you need it for some reason, you can find it on your phone. Recycling papers, throwing away trash, maybe it's gum wrappers in your backpack, or I don't know, trash in your lunchbox that you didn't unpack at the end of the school day. I think you get the point. So basically just getting rid of unnecessary things at least once a week. The very last thing that I will recommend is making your bed. And I know that this seems like a super basic thing and it's probably not a great finale for this video, but making your bed is so important, and it's one thing that you can quickly get done in the morning. Even if you just pull your sheets up, pull your comforter up, throw your pillows on your bed. I count that as making my bed, but it's the first thing that you can accomplish during a day other than getting up out of bed. But if you make your bed, it'll also allow you to keep your room clean, which makes it easier to declutter once a week, but also it's just nice to look at. And I know it's like, well, I'm just gonna get in it again, and I'm not even in my room because I have sports and I have homework and I have school obviously today, and so it's like, what's the point of making my bed? But I think that there are so many more benefits to making your bed than we even can think of. It's just a really good way to start off your day. Those are all of the tips and ideas that I have for how you can stay organized this school year. I really hope that at least a few of them have helped you. And if you haven't already, you should definitely subscribe to my channel, and certainly please let me know in the comments if you have any video ideas, or if I know you personally message me please, because I'm running out and I don't want to just stop my channel because I run out of ideas. I definitely plan on continuing to upload, like I said, more so Fridays than Tuesdays, just because of my schedule and the fact that I have no idea what my next video is going to be. But anyways, aside from that, thank you for watching and I will see you next time.